Summer seems to have gone in the UK. It was between about the 21st and the 27th of June, and we're now into July. In actual fact, there's a general election tomorrow, so something to look forward to, eh? But this weather, look at that. Just look. Is there a shot there or what? A lot of landscape photographers will tell you that they don't particularly like summer. I know Tom Heaton isn't a great fan of it, and that's largely because the light isn't very good. But in England, as indeed an awful lot of the northern hemisphere I know, summer isn't often that great, and often we get skies like this. And these are just fantastic. The light is flat. Yeah, it's uninteresting light. But look at the rest of it. How can you not like this? Of course, you've got to pick your moment. Yeah, a lot of us might be fair weather photographers, but often, fair weather isn't really the ideal situation, is it? Fair weather is not right, and then we say, well, we haven't got the clothes to go out in inclement weather, or we don't like going out in inclement weather. But that's when the shots are. I mean, there's quite a threat of rain here, as you might be able to see, but sometimes you've just got to turn around and say, sod the rain, sod the likelihood that I might get wet. Come out prepared, or just come out prepared to get wet, as I have, or just come out and take the right clothes. Anyway, I'm waffling. I've seen over here, you just see there, a small clutch of poppies. So that's where I'm going next. Poppies are such an iconic flower of summer, aren't they? This area of Norfolk is called Poppyland. I probably don't have to explain that to you. And they are beautiful. They're just beautiful when set against wheat fields like this. And this light is really good for it, because red fluoresces horribly in really bright light and can be really difficult to control. But here, where it's just nice and subtle and it's flat, and we're relying on the colour of this beautiful wheat. Is it wheat? Is it barley? I don't know. I don't care what the crop is. The shot, or I don't know what the shot is yet, but the colour contrast, the fact that we've got contrast with the sky as well. I don't know whether that's where I'm going with this. Just actually this really simple shot here with this one on the back of the camera looks rather nice. Glasses off again. Can't quite focus on the screen like that. Oh, this is nice, but I've got to push the ISO up because there's wind, as you can see. Maybe just against the sky. Don't want the horizon in it, because it would just confuse the shot. Oh, we've got a bug on this one. What's that? Can we get buggy? Let's see what we can we isolate this. You know what? I'm not too bothered about a bit of movement. Just create our own movement in frame. Hold on. Just fire. I've just been really indiscriminate there. I do not know. Ooh, what we got. Let's have a quick butcher's. There's one or two that might work there, and I suppose what I'm doing is the kind of opposite of ICM. It's a IPM, intentional poppy movement. Let's see whether we can get that grass out of the way. There we go. I'll show you these shots, and I'll show you a couple of poppy shots that I got a week or so back that I've been adjusting a little bit using colour effects from the EXO Nick collection. Highly recommend Nick collection. There's links down in the description, affiliate links. If you want to support me and you want to buy the Nick's collection, then please go and use those links. But it's a wonderful set of filters that allows you to do all kinds of things to your images, to turn them from kind of standard photos into something rather different, or indeed keep them standard photos. There's a wide range of tools. It's Silver Effects Pro, or Silver Effects program, is stunning. It's the best black and white processor you can get. Anyway, here's some shots, some ICMs, some IPMs, and enjoy. Let me know what you think of them. So you may not have been able to see before just how close this field is to the big blue wobbly thing over there. Yeah, this is a cliff top field. Not so long ago, a house half a mile that way pretty much just fell onto the beach. Well, part of it did, and then the rest of it had to be destroyed, which is awfully sad. But that's what's happening to our country and lots of countries around the world, of course. But yeah, parts of our country are literally just falling onto the beach and into the sea. So I just come into one of these small wooded areas that you saw from outside. Don't expect to take any photos in here. The light's just not good enough, and I've not really come out for that kind of thing. So I'm just walking through so I can get to the cliff edge this way. There's a beautiful light over here now, and I think just this scene itself, it just shoots itself. Sometimes you find scenes that just shoot themselves. Although we say that, don't we, and then we get back to the computer, we get it on a bigger screen and you think, oh, I don't know, it doesn't work really well. And I don't know whether this is going to work really well, but you've got to admit that just looking at it, the way the colours coming through those clouds, like there's some shafts as well, shafts of light, God rays, if you will. And I think the thing that we really do have with this shot is layers. We've got this foreground margin of the fields, we've got the wonderful colour of the fields, and we've got the green fields beyond, whether they're grass, I'm not sure what they are. I haven't got my glasses on, you're lucky I can see that they're green. It's layer, 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 and it's just so lovely. So even if the shot doesn't work terribly well, then we've got an exercise in layering. It's just really a case of our position here as to how much of a layer we've got. How much of the sky do we want? How much of the foreground do we want? Do we duck and rise, or do we tilt? Because we've got no parallel lines and man-made lines here, it doesn't matter quite so much whether we tilt or whether we duck, because you don't have a reference point. But one of the things actually is, because there's not a lot of this cow parsley in the shot from here, I think I need to take it with a little bit of this, using this as a layer. Now, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you'll notice that more recently I haven't been shooting many landscape scenes. I've been working more on subjects, or talking about taking photos about things rather than of things, and things like that. And you know what? There's a reason for it. Let me just put this tripod down. Let me try to explain. Kind of lost my want to do that kind of thing. I say want, that's not true. I've got it into my head that I've exhausted the area, and I hope that in other videos that I've put out recently that I've shown you probably can't exhaust the area, but I'm not immune to this. If you think that there's nothing around you to photograph, then just go and look at. I don't. Is it that corner? I don't know. I keep getting this wrong. My lefts and my rights, because they're twisted on the camera as well. It cancels one another out, and I always get it wrong. So up in the corner there's a video about going out into an area that you undoubtedly have got relatively close to you somewhere, unless you live in the absolute wilderness and hundreds of miles away from the nearest reasonable sized town. There's going to be an industrial estate somewhere around near you. Check out that video, and the shots are everywhere. And if I'm honest, because I know the shots are everywhere in these places, I'm kind of going to them. I'm getting the low-hanging fruit, or at least it's low-hanging to me. Yeah, everyone's different. You may not see these shots yourself. You may find that that you would struggle to see them, but everything's about color and light. And if I just kind of pull you up here and tilt you a bit, I'm not very good with this gimbal, but there's just a nice shot here. It's the color and well, kind of everything about it, the color, the shape, the sky. I think that's a nice landscape scene. Hold on, let's just move us back around here again. Yeah, that's a nice landscape scene, isn't it? Well, I think so. I'm going to shoot that and put that up on screen, and you can tell me whether you like it or not. For a lot of landscape photography, of course, the weather is absolutely crucial. Interesting skies make a photograph. If you go into the mountains and shoot a mountain on a blue sky day, hey, it's not going to be the same as shooting a mountain in really heavy cloud with sun rays and such coming through. And then the same way as shooting the coastline like this. This camera isn't doing it justice in any way, shape or form, but I think you've seen some of the shots already. That it's only just getting better. So this idea of me shooting low-hanging fruit, there's both truth and guff in it, because what I consider to be an easy shot, you would probably consider to be an incredibly difficult shot. You wouldn't necessarily see a lot of the shots that I'm finding and shooting in recent videos. This comes back to experience and knowledge, and well, just what you find easy, isn't it? It's what you've got an eye for. And I'm out here again this evening trying to kind of hone my eye back to what I considered myself to be before, which was a landscape photographer. I'm not sure it was ever true. I shoot things within the landscape, and I sometimes shoot the landscape, but I'm often shooting objects that kind of define the landscape or are part of the landscape rather than the landscape itself, if you see what I mean. I'm finding those things simpler than shooting the big scenes. And there might be an element of that is about my familiarity with the landscape, my contempt, if it were, for my familiarity of the landscape. You'll understand what I mean when I say something along the lines of, if you live in a city, I can pretty much guarantee that most of you will never have been to some of the landmarks that all of the tourists will go to, because, well, you can go anytime, can't you? Thing is that you don't tend to. So it's kind of the same here. I'm ignoring the things that are beautiful and on my doorstep because, well, they're beautiful and on my doorstep. I can go anytime, but I find other things simpler, and I've got to exercise my eye, my ability to shoot these wonderful scenes. And if I'm not there, I can't shoot them. You know, a few minutes ago, the ship that's out over here was picking up so much beautiful light from the sun. It's not now, but yeah, I wouldn't have seen that if I weren't here. There's a yacht. I don't know whether you can, yeah, you can probably just about, no, I don't know. Anyway, there's a yacht out there, take my word for it. And yeah, with an awfully long lens, I could get a shot of that and get some nice isolation. I'm kind of waffling. I'm kind of trying to justify my comment here, and I'm not doing a very good job of it. If I don't get into these places, I can't relearn to shoot them. That's if I ever learned to shoot them in the first place. But I kind of, yeah, I always say this: if you're not there, you can't do it. I'm running out of words. Do you get what I'm talking about? That sunset is really brewing rather nicely over there, isn't it? I like that. Not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, because I've got into a low part of the path, so all I can really see is horizon and things like this, and you know, it's not ideal. Looking back in the opposite direction, if this is going to follow me, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, sometimes it's really bad at following. I think there's a shot here as well, arguably. It's layers. You know, there's kind of so much here that kind of works. We've got layers of colour as much as anything else. Let's just raise you up a little so you can see a little bit more of maybe what's going on colour-wise over here. So we've got this really light wheat field at the top here, and just kind of layered down almost in colour or tone graduations, and it's rather nice. And then we've got over here, if it's going to follow me, yeah, it is. We've got this kind of cut out in the cliff, so we've got an element there that's kind of working as well. What's not working for me is this great big tall thingy, plant, words, and so I'll probably have to kind of get in front of that a little bit, but I think there's a shot there. Sign up there says stay 5 meters from the cliff. We'll see. Now, can we be clever and get a deep image here? Or we might be able to. That might work. Don't ever let someone tell you that you're holding the camera wrong. Something's occurred to me, and that is the very simple point that a lot of the things I've been shooting recently have a subject, and I think it's really a lot simpler to shoot a photo that has a subject than it is to shoot a scene, because a scene doesn't necessarily have a focal point. It doesn't have something that you want your viewer to look at. That's one of the troubling things that I have to kind of get my head around, and perhaps you too, is does a photo have to have a subject? And the answer categorically is no. But I think without a subject, you've got to work a lot harder to make that image work. Let's try to think what I mean here. With an image that has a subject, you have a choice of putting that subject in particular places in the frame. They might be center, or on a third cross section, third line, wherever it happens to be. And in general, your focal point will be that subject. But when your image doesn't have a subject, you've got to be a lot more mindful of how the eye moves through the image. If there's a subject, then you've got to take the eye to the subject, whether that's through contrast, whether it's through leading lines or anything else. You've got something to work with. With a great big scene, not like that, because that's horrible. Bad example. But with a great big scene, you don't have that immediate giveaway to work with. So you've got to take the eye through the scene in another way. You've obviously got to make the scene interesting. So I've just shot a little member video, a little bit way back down. That sounds good, doesn't it? My English is getting worse. And I finished it by saying, you try and being creative week in, week out. And this really goes straight back to what I was saying earlier about how I've been shooting what I consider to be low-hanging fruit. It isn't, of course. I keep saying this, but I'm shooting what I know, and I've kind of got away from the things that I didn't think I was perhaps as good at. I don't know. I'm finding this really hard to put into words, which you might be noticing, because I'm sure I've repeated myself quite a bit now. The point is, we've always got to keep going. We need to stretch ourselves. It's okay niching down, because if you want to be a particular type of photographer, then go ahead and niche. But a lot of us are not aware of what kind of photographer we want to be, and therefore niching down isn't that good an idea. Find something you enjoy and go at it, for sure, but don't be exclusively it. And it's interesting. I bumped into Alistair Morrison at the weekend. Now, you'll probably not know who Alistair Morrison is. If I say he has exhibitions in the National Portrait Gallery, you'll get an idea of the kind of calibre of photographer Alistair Morrison is. Check him out, there'll be links down below. Alistair's even liked a couple of my shots on Instagram, so there we go. Hobnobbing. But no, it wasn't. It was literally just I stumbled upon him, and I'll tell the story of how another time. But one of the things he said to me, because I didn't really know who he was at the time, my ignorance, I'm sorry, but he said to me that he was a portrait photographer of well-known people for many years, and he is now just kind of shooting fun things as much as he can, like the next person that walks out of Sainsbury's. And I think you'll find that a lot of us are like that. We have perhaps a job and we have a hobby, and sometimes those things are aligned, and we don't necessarily want to carry our hobby into our job, or vice versa. I think it's the other way around, really, isn't it? We don't want to carry our job into our hobby. Yet there are similarities between the two. I've got to swap arms because this is murder. That's better. So, and I suppose it also goes back to this idea of, or this idiom. Is it an idiom of a change is as good as a rest? And I think that's important as well. I think you can sometimes get too comfortable in what you're doing. I think you can get too staid in what you're doing. I think particularly this idea of getting staid is an important one, because if you get too comfortable, if you get too staid in what you're doing, then possibly you're also not stretching yourself, and I think that's a problem. If there's any images I've shot that I haven't filmed, I'll put them up now. But thank you for watching. If you'd like to support me, there's affiliate links down below. There's also a member scheme, and otherwise, hey, just like and subscribe, share the video, and yeah, we'll see you next time.